Princess Zaraeth stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, trying to keep her back straight and her face calm. The massive room was filled with representatives from dozens of alien species, all staring at her with looks she knew too well. Pity, disgust, disappointment. She had blue skin that sparkled like crystal in the light, and her tall, thin body marked her as one of the Velthari royal family. But none of that mattered anymore. For 300 years, she had carried the shame of being broken, infertile, unable to have children. In her species, having children was not just important, it was everything. The Velthari measured worth by how many offspring someone could produce. Royal families needed children to continue bloodlines and make political marriages with other worlds. Without the ability to reproduce, Zaraeth was worthless to her people. The council leader, a large creature with 6 arms and purple fur, spoke in a voice that echoed through the hall. "We face a problem with the humans of Terra Nova," he said. "They want cultural exchange. They specifically asked for a member of the Velthari royal family to visit their frontier research station." Murmurs filled the room. The humans were new to galactic politics, having only discovered faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. Most council members saw them as primitive and backward. Their technology was basic, their military was weak, and they had no special abilities that other species respected. "This request puts us in a difficult position," the council leader continued. "We cannot ignore the humans completely. They control several useful trade routes. But sending a valuable royal family member to waste time with these creatures would be insulting to our dignity." More murmurs, this time with sounds of agreement. Zaraeth felt her stomach twist. She knew what was coming. A thin, snake-like alien from the Zephyr system raised one of his 4 heads. "Perhaps we can solve 2 problems at once," he said with a cruel smile. "We have a royal family member who serves no useful purpose, and we have humans who want royal attention. Why not send Princess Zaraeth?" Laughter rippled through the hall. Not the kind of laughter that comes from joy, but the mean kind that comes from seeing someone else's pain. Zaraeth kept her face still, even though she felt like she was dying inside. The council leader's eyes gleamed with amusement. "An excellent suggestion. Princess Zaraeth can represent the Velthari Empire in this cultural exchange. She will travel with their scientists to study some backwater planet. This way, we satisfy the humans' request while removing an embarrassment from our court." "But sir," a younger council member said, "is it wise to send royalty, even her, to such a dangerous assignment? The planet they want to study is on the edge of known space. There could be hostile forces, dangerous wildlife, or—" "Exactly the point," the snake-like alien interrupted. "If something unfortunate happens to the princess, it would solve our problem permanently. And if she survives, she will be far away from important matters." More laughter. Zaraeth closed her eyes for a moment, fighting back tears. She had endured 3 centuries of this treatment, but it never stopped hurting. The council leader banged his gavel. "It is decided. Princess Zaraeth will join the human Dr. Marcus Chen on his research expedition to Kepler 442b. The mission will last 1 year. Guards will escort the princess to prepare for departure." As the council members filed out, still chuckling about their clever solution, Zaraeth remained standing in the center of the hall. A few of the aliens looked back at her with something almost like sympathy, but none of them spoke up. They never did. One of the royal guards, a fellow Velthari with kind eyes, approached her carefully. "Your Highness," he said quietly, "I am sorry. This assignment, it is not fair." Zaraeth looked at him with surprise. In 300 years, few people had ever said they were sorry for how she was treated. "Thank you, Captain Velanor," she said softly. "But fairness has never been part of my life. At least now I will see something beyond these palace walls. The humans, what do you know about them?" the guard asked. Zaraeth thought for a moment. "Very little. They are young as a species. They fight among themselves often. Their technology is basic compared to ours. But, but, I have read some reports about their behavior. They seem to care for individuals who cannot contribute to their society. They spend resources on the sick, the old, the disabled. It is strange. The guard nodded slowly. Perhaps this assignment will not be as terrible as the council believes. Zara-Ath looked around the empty hall one more time. Perhaps, she said, or perhaps it will be worse. But it cannot be more lonely than this place. As she walked toward her quarters to prepare for the journey, Zara-Ath tried to imagine what awaited her. She had never met a human before. She wondered if they would treat her with the same disgust as her own people, or if their strange habits of caring for the worthless might extend even to a broken alien princess. Tomorrow, she would find out. The space station orbiting Terra Nova was nothing like what Zara-Ath expected. Instead of the cold, efficient design of Velthari buildings, the human station felt warm and lived in. Plants grew in small gardens along the walkways. Children's drawings decorated some walls. People smiled at her as she passed, even though she was clearly not human. Dr. Marcus Chen was waiting for her at the docking bay. He was shorter than most Velthari, with dark hair and brown eyes that seemed to sparkle with curiosity. When he saw her, he stepped forward with a big smile. Princess Zara-Ath, welcome to Terra Nova Station. I'm Marcus Chen, but please just call me Marcus. I'm so honored to work with you. Zara-Ath stared at him in confusion. Honored? No one had ever said they were honored to work with her. She looked around, wondering if this was some kind of joke, but Marcus seemed completely sincere. Dr. Chen. Marcus, she said carefully, you understand that I am here because the council wanted to get rid of me, correct? This assignment was not meant as an honor for either of us. Marcus laughed, but it was not the cruel laughter she was used to. It was warm and genuine. Maybe that's true, he said, but I don't care why you're here. I care that you are here. I've read about Velthari science and culture. Having someone with your knowledge on this expedition is amazing. My knowledge? Zara-Ath felt even more confused. What knowledge could you possibly want from me? Are you serious? Marcus's eyes got even brighter. You've lived for over 300 years. You've studied at the finest universities in the galaxy. You speak 17 languages and have degrees in both biological sciences and cultural anthropology. Plus, you're the first Velthari royal to ever work directly with human researchers. This is historic. Zara-Ath had never heard anyone describe her education as impressive. In Velthari society, her learning was seen as a waste of time, a useless hobby for someone who could not fulfill her real purpose of having children. Thank you, she said, not sure what else to say. Marcus led her through the station, chattering excitedly about their mission. Kepler 442b is fascinating, he explained. It has these crystal formations that seem to be alive, but they're not like any life we've seen before. They're part organic, part mineral. Some of my colleagues think they might be a bridge between living and non-living matter. As they walked, Zara-Ath noticed something strange. Other humans they passed treated her with respect. Some even bowed slightly, which made her uncomfortable. She was used to being invisible or insulted, not honored. Why are your people being so nice to me? She asked. Marcus looked surprised. Why wouldn't we be nice? You're our guest, and you're here to help us learn. Besides... He paused, looking a little sad. I've heard how your own people treat you. That's terrible. No one deserves that, especially not someone as accomplished as you. Zara-Ath stopped walking. You know about my, condition? You mean that you can't have children? Yes, I know. Marcus turned to face her directly. And I think your people are idiots for treating you badly because of it. The blunt statement shocked her. But reproduction is the most important function of any species. Without it, there is no future. Says who? Marcus asked. Look, I get that having kids is important for species survival. But that doesn't mean people who can't have kids are worthless. Some of the greatest humans in our history couldn't or didn't have children. They contributed to our species in other ways, through art, science, leadership, innovation. Value isn't just about biology. This idea was so foreign to Zara that she couldn't fully understand it. In her world, everything revolved around genetic continuation, but Marcus seemed completely sincere. Their ship, the Endeavor, was smaller than Velthari vessels, but felt more comfortable somehow. Marcus showed her to her quarters, which he had filled with books about human culture and philosophy. He had even gotten her some Velthari food from the station's diverse market. "I wasn't sure what you might like," he said, looking a little embarrassed. "I hope this is okay." You thought about what I might want?" Zara asked. "Of course. I want you to be comfortable. We're going to be working together for a year. I want it to be a good experience for both of us." Over the next few days, as they traveled toward Kepler 442b, Zara found herself relaxing for the first time in decades. Marcus treated her as an equal partner in their research. He asked for her opinions on their mission plans. He shared meals with her, telling stories about Earth and asking about Velthari culture. "Your people sound very focused on efficiency," he said one evening as they ate dinner together. "Yes," Zara replied. "Everything is organized for maximum benefit to society. Emotions are seen as wasteful. Personal desires are secondary to genetic duty." "That sounds lonely," Marcus said quietly. Zara looked up from her food, surprised by the sadness in his voice. "Lonely? Don't you ever just want to do something because it makes you happy? Or spend time with someone because you enjoy their company, not because it serves a purpose?" No. I mean, such thoughts are discouraged. They lead to inefficiency." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. "Well, maybe this year you can try some inefficiency. See what you think." As Kepler 442b grew larger in their view screen, Zara found herself looking forward to their work together. For the first time in 3 centuries, someone valued her mind, her knowledge, her company. She didn't understand Marcus's strange human ideas about worth and happiness, but she wanted to learn. Maybe being sent away as a joke would turn out to be the best thing that had ever happened to her. 3 months had passed since they arrived on Kepler 442b, and Zara had never been happier. The planet was beautiful in a strange way, covered with crystal formations that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. She and Marcus worked side by side every day, studying the unusual life forms and taking careful notes about everything they discovered. The crystal beings were unlike anything in galactic records. They grew like plants, but had the structure of minerals. They responded to sound and light, but had no visible nervous systems. Most amazing of all, they seemed to communicate with each other through vibrations that traveled through the ground. "Look at this," Marcus said one morning, showing Zara his latest readings. "The crystal's energy output changes when we're near them. It's like they know we're here." Zara studied the data. "The pattern is different when we're together versus when one of us is alone," she noticed. "They respond more strongly to both of us at the same time." "Maybe they're curious about different species working together," Marcus suggested. "Most of the galaxy seems to keep their species separate. Maybe cooperation is unusual." Working with Marcus had taught Zara things she never expected to learn. Humans were not just primitive creatures trying to copy their betters. They had their own unique ways of solving problems. Marcus could look at a challenge from angles that would never occur to a Velthari mind. His emotional thinking, which her people saw as a weakness, often led to creative solutions. But lately, Zara had been feeling strange. It started with small things: feeling tired in the mornings, changes in her appetite, unusual sensations in her body. At first, she blamed it on the planet's different atmosphere or the stress of being so far from home. Then the symptoms got stronger. One morning, she felt so sick that she could barely get out of bed. Marcus was worried and wanted to call for medical help, but Zara refused. She was afraid that if anyone found out she was sick, they might end the mission and send her back to face the council's anger. "Please," she told Marcus, "let me run some medical scans first. If it's serious, I promise I'll ask for help." Marcus didn't like it, but he agreed. Zara used the ship's medical equipment to examine herself when Marcus was outside collecting crystal samples. The first scan made her heart stop. The readings showed cellular changes in her reproductive system, changes that looked exactly like the early stages of Velthari pregnancy. "Impossible," she whispered to herself, running the scan again. The results were the same. She tried a third time, then a fourth. Every scan showed the same thing. Zara sat down heavily, her mind spinning. This could not be happening. 300 years of medical tests had proven that her reproductive system was completely non-functional. Multiple specialists had confirmed it. The genetic defect that made her infertile was permanent and untreatable. But the scans didn't lie. For days, she tried to hide her panic from Marcus, but he was too observant. He noticed that she was distracted, that she jumped at sudden sounds, that she kept making excuses to use the medical bay. "Zara," he said one evening as they sat watching the crystal formations glow in the planet's purple sunset. "What's wrong? And don't tell me nothing. I've been working with you for months. I know when something is bothering you." Zara looked at his concerned face and felt her resolve crumble. She had never had a real friend before Marcus. She had never had someone who cared about her well-being without wanting something in return. "If I tell you something impossible," she said quietly, "will you believe me?" "Try me." Zara took a deep breath. I think I might be pregnant." Marcus blinked in surprise. That's wonderful. But why do you look terrified? Is pregnancy dangerous for your species?" "Marcus, you don't understand. I can't get pregnant. It's physically impossible. I have a genetic condition that makes me completely infertile. That's why my people treat me the way they do." Marcus was quiet for a long moment, processing this information. "But you said you think you're pregnant. What makes you think that?" Zara told him about the scans, the symptoms, the impossible cellular changes. Marcus listened without interrupting, his scientific mind working through the puzzle. "Can I see the scans?" he asked finally. They went back to the ship together, and Zara showed him all the medical data. Marcus studied it carefully, comparing it to what he knew about Velthari biology from the database. "These readings definitely show pregnancy," he said. "But if you're really infertile, then something must have changed. Something must have triggered your reproductive system to start working." "But what?" Zara asked desperately. "I haven't been exposed to any new medicines or treatments. The only thing different about the past few months is—" She stopped, realizing what she was about to say. "Is what?" Marcus prompted. "Is being here, with you, around humans." Marcus looked thoughtful. "You know, there have been some theories about human biology. Some scientists think we might have unusual biochemistry because we evolved on such a diverse planet. We had to adapt to all kinds of environments and work with all kinds of other species." "What kind of unusual biochemistry?" "Well, humans seem to have stronger immune systems than most species. We recover from injuries faster. We can eat foods that are toxic to other aliens. Some researchers think we might produce compounds that affect other species in unexpected ways." Zara stared at him. "You think being around you somehow fixed me?" "I don't know, but think about it. We've been sharing meals, breathing the same air, working in close contact for months. Plus, these crystal formations might be acting as some kind of catalyst. Maybe the combination of human biochemistry and the planet's unique environment triggered something in your system." The idea was incredible. It meant that humans weren't just another ordinary species. They might have biological properties that could affect the rest of the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. It also meant that Zara's pregnancy, if it was real, could change everything. Over the following weeks, there was no doubt left. Zara was definitely pregnant. The medical scans showed a healthy, growing baby inside her, developing exactly as it should according to Velthari biology textbooks. Except this pregnancy should have been impossible. Marcus threw himself into research with the enthusiasm of a scientist who had stumbled onto the discovery of a lifetime. He analyzed everything: the air they breathed, the food they shared, the water they drank, even the electromagnetic fields from the crystal formations around their base. "I found something," he said one morning, practically bouncing with excitement. He showed Zara his analysis of their shared environment. "Humans produce a unique protein compound that we release through our breath and skin. Most species can't detect it or aren't affected by it, but when combined with Velthari physiology and these crystal formations as a catalyst, it activates dormant genetic pathways," Zara finished, understanding immediately. "The crystals amplify whatever biochemical signals humans naturally produce." "Exactly. Your reproductive system wasn't broken. It was just waiting for the right trigger, and apparently, close contact with humans provides that trigger." The implications made Zara dizzy. "Marcus, do you understand what this means? If humans can activate dormant genetics in other species, we could help solve fertility problems across the galaxy," Marcus said, his voice filled with wonder. "Species that have been struggling with low birth rates, genetic bottlenecks, evolutionary dead ends. Humans might be able to help all of them." But as exciting as the discovery was, it also terrified Zara. As her pregnancy progressed, the baby showed signs of being extraordinary. The child's brain development was advanced even by Velthari standards. Its cellular structure showed improvements to immune function, healing ability, and sensory perception that neither parent possessed. "It's like the best of both species combined," Marcus observed, studying the latest scans. "Your child is going to be remarkable." "Our child," Zara corrected him quietly. Marcus looked up from the data, meeting her eyes. "Our child." They had never talked about the relationship that had grown between them. It had happened so gradually that neither of them had really noticed when friendship became something deeper. But now, facing the reality of a child that was biologically both of theirs, they couldn't avoid the conversation. "I know this complicates everything," Zara said. "When we return, the council will want to study the baby, maybe take it away for testing. They'll want to understand how this happened so they can use the knowledge for political gain." "They won't care about us or what we want." Marcus reached over and took her hand. "Then we'll have to make sure they don't get that chance." "What do you mean?" "I mean, we document everything ourselves. We control the information. We decide how this discovery gets shared with the galaxy." Over the next several months, Marcus and Zara worked together to create a complete record of their findings. They documented the biochemical process that had triggered her pregnancy. They recorded detailed medical information about the baby's development. They even studied how the crystal formations on Kepler 442b had enhanced the effect. But they also made plans, secret plans. "If we present this to the Galactic Council as a joint discovery," Marcus explained, "they'll try to separate us and control the research. But if we present it as a humanitarian breakthrough that requires human-alien cooperation, we might be able to stay together and protect our child." Zara had never imagined she could feel this way about another person. Love was not a concept that existed in Velthari culture. Marriage was about genetic compatibility and political advantage, not emotional attachment. But what she felt for Marcus went beyond any biological or political calculation. "I want to stay with you," she admitted one evening as they watched their baby move on the medical scanner. "Not because of duty or politics or even because of the baby. I want to stay with you because you make me happy." Marcus smiled, the same warm smile that had greeted her on Terra Nova Station almost a year ago. "That's funny," he said. "My people have a word for that. We call it love." "Love!" Zaraeth repeated, testing the foreign concept. It feels inefficient. Terribly inefficient, Marcus agreed, and completely wonderful. As their year on Kepler 442b came to an end, they had to face the reality of returning to civilization. Zaraeth's pregnancy was obvious now. She would give birth within weeks of their arrival back at the space station. There would be no hiding what had happened. "Are you ready for this?" Marcus asked as they packed up their research equipment. Zaraeth looked around the small base that had become the happiest home she'd ever known. "No," she said honestly, "but I'm ready to try." The journey back to the populated systems would take 2 weeks. Their child would probably be born in space, between worlds, belonging fully to neither human nor Velthari territory. It seemed fitting somehow. As their ship lifted off from Kepler 442b, Zaraeth watched the crystal formations shrink below them. Those strange, beautiful life forms had been the catalyst for the most important discovery in galactic history. They had also been the catalyst for her own personal transformation from a worthless outcast to a mother, a scientist, and someone who finally understood what it meant to be loved. Now they had to convince the galaxy that this discovery belonged to everyone, not just to the council members who thought they were so clever in their cruel joke a year ago. The news of Princess Zaraeth's return spread through the Velthari palace like wildfire. She was not just returning from her exile, she was returning visibly pregnant, carrying a child that should not exist. The same council members who had laughed as they sent her away now gathered in emergency session, their faces showing panic instead of amusement. The snake-like Zephyr representative who had suggested the joke was notably quiet, staring at his hands instead of making cruel comments. "This is impossible," the council leader declared, his 6 arms waving in agitation. "Our medical experts confirmed that Princess Zaraeth was completely infertile. If she returns with a child, it can only mean she has been unfaithful to her mission and somehow obtained genetic material through illegal means." But Dr. Marcus Chen stood beside Zaraeth in the Great Hall, holding her hand and showing no fear of the assembled alien dignitaries. The data pad in his other hand contained information that would change galactic civilization forever. "Honored council members," Marcus began, his voice steady and confident, "I am here to present our findings from the Kepler 442b research mission. What we discovered there goes far beyond simple biological study." Zaraeth stepped forward, her pregnancy obvious, but her posture proud. "The child I carry is mine," she announced clearly. "It was conceived naturally during our mission, and its existence proves that humanity possesses the most significant biological capability ever discovered." The hall erupted in angry voices and shocked exclamations. The council leader banged his gavel repeatedly, trying to restore order. "Impossible!" shouted a representative from the Andorian collective. "Human biology is primitive. They have no special capabilities." Marcus activated his data pad, projecting holographic displays of their research. "Actually, humans carry unique protein compounds that can activate dormant genetic pathways in other species. When Princess Zaraeth was exposed to human biochemistry in combination with the catalytic properties of Kepler 442b's crystal formations, her reproductive system was restored to full function." The scientific data was undeniable. Charts and graphs showed the step-by-step process of genetic activation. Medical scans revealed the growing child's enhanced capabilities. Even the most skeptical council members could not argue with the evidence. "But what does this mean?" asked a representative from the Centauri Federation. "It means," Zaraeth said, placing her hand on her belly, "that humans are not the backward species you believe them to be. They are the key to solving genetic problems that have plagued the galaxy for millions of years." Dr. Sarah Chen, Marcus's colleague who had arrived to support their presentation, stood up from the audience. "We have already begun preliminary studies with volunteers from several species. The results are promising. Humans appear capable of helping overcome fertility problems, genetic disorders, and evolutionary bottlenecks across multiple alien biologies. The political implications hit the Council like a meteor strike. Every species in the galaxy had genetic challenges. The proud Velthari had declining birth rates among their nobility. The warrior Klingon Empire struggled with genetic damage from ancient wars. The intellectual Vulcanoids faced evolutionary stagnation. All of them could potentially benefit from human biological assistance. "This changes everything," whispered a representative from the Trade Federation. "Humans cannot be treated as a minor species if they possess such capabilities." The council leader looked like he was about to be sick. "What do the humans want in exchange for this assistance?" Marcus and Zaraeth exchanged glances. They had prepared for this question. "Partnership," Marcus said simply. "Not dominance, not control, not exploitation. True partnership. Humans want to be treated as equals in galactic society. We want our worlds protected, our trade routes respected, and our people included in major decisions. And we want the right to form families across species lines," Zaraeth added. "Love and companionship should not be limited by politics or biology." The baby chose that moment to kick strongly, making Zaraeth gasp and place her hand on her belly. The sound carried clearly through the silent hall. "When will the child be born?" asked the council leader, his voice much quieter now. "Within days," Zaraeth replied. "And when Prince Kale Marcus enters this galaxy, he will be living proof of what cooperation between species can achieve." The name sent another ripple through the hall. By combining elements from both parents' worlds, Zaraeth was making a clear statement about the child's identity and heritage. Over the following weeks, as news of the discovery spread, the galaxy's political landscape shifted dramatically. Human colonies that had been ignored or dismissed suddenly found themselves hosting delegations from major powers. Trade agreements were renegotiated. Defense pacts were offered. Most importantly, the cruel jokes and dismissive attitudes toward both humans and defective individuals began to change. If a princess dismissed as worthless could become the mother of a new evolutionary step, and if humans dismissed as primitive could hold the key to genetic advancement, then perhaps it was time to reconsider what really determined value. When Prince Kale Marcus was finally born, he exceeded all expectations. His advanced cognitive development showed at birth. His immune system was stronger than either parent species possessed. Most remarkably, he seemed to intuitively understand both human technology and Velthari biological sciences, as if he had been born knowing how to bridge the gap between different ways of thinking. Zaraeth and Marcus established the first human galactic biological research institute on a neutral space station between Earth and the Velthari homeworld. Their son would grow up surrounded by scientists from dozens of species, all working together to unlock the potential that existed when different kinds of life collaborated instead of competing. The council members who had sent Zaraeth away as a joke found themselves requesting meetings with her, hoping to benefit from her unique experience and knowledge. The snake-like Zephyr representative even formally apologized, admitting that his cruelty had been wrong. But Zaraeth was most proud of the simple changes. Alien species began adopting human concepts like caring for those who could not contribute economically. The idea that individuals had value beyond their biological functions slowly spread through galactic culture. As she watched her son play with children from 6 different species in the Institute's nursery, Zaraeth reflected on the strange journey that had brought her here. A year ago, she had been a joke, a failure sent away to waste time with primitives. Now she was the mother of the future, the partner of the most important human in the galaxy, and living proof that sometimes the greatest discoveries come from the most unexpected places. Marcus joined her at the nursery window, slipping his arm around her waist. "Any regrets?" he asked quietly. Zaraeth leaned against him, watching their remarkable child show his playmates how to make crystals sing. "Only one," she said. "I regret that it took the council 300 years to make their best mistake." Marcus laughed, and the sound was still as warm and genuine as it had been on that first day when he welcomed a broken princess and saw only possibilities.